Look how cute. I just finished this watermelon painting and it was so much fun, and I know you're gonna enjoy it too. So let me share with you the supplies that I use for this. Starting off with brushes, we have size 10, 6, and 2, round brushes from Princeton. I have My Mary paints as usual. My palette is already filled with them. The only thing that I grabbed from the tube was our Winsor & Newton white gouache for the highlights and details. And my paper is Legion Stonehenge. It's cold pressed paper, 100% cotton, absorbs just the right amount of paint for the work that I do. I will leave all the supplies and links to Amazon in my description for this video. But without further ado, let's get painting. First things first, I'll be wetting my brush. Over here I have green gold, and I'm starting with the rind, which is on the lighter side. A little bit of water, a little bit of that green paint. It's just a light, kind of limeish green. And we're going big for this watermelon. Start to create that shape. I want to be able to see a little bit of water starting to build up around the edges, because that's where our dark green is going to blend. If it's already dry, we're not going to get that deep bleed. Go right into your sap green or a dark medium tone green, adding a touch of my dark blue. And right there, following that curve we already created. Mix up a little bit more dark blue into my green color. We'll do the same thing again. This is my round brush, but it's a size 10. Usually I'm working with the size 6. Let's add a little bit more of that vibrant green, which is my green gold, just to add some diversity through there. And you can pick up a little color along that rind, just to add some white streaks where there might be some stripes. Make sure your brush is a little bit damp when you're doing this, and you're just picking up some of that paint and wiping it on a towel. All right. Rinsing my brush completely, let's mix up our red. I have permanent red light. I might add a touch of Rose Lake in there, but mostly red. Now I have a little bit more water. I have my color mixed up in my palette. Now I have extra water in my brush, and first I'm creating the shape. Now I'm going in with more paint. Just giving a little bit of a sharper edge there by the point of my brush. I added a touch of blue to my pink paint. Now we're just adding some deeper spots through the watermelon. Now I'm going to create a couple white highlights. That same pulling technique. Add those couple of seeds with a smaller size 6 round brush, grabbing some of my carbon black. Just creating that seed shape. I still want a little bit of a darker rind here, so I'm switching to my detailed size 2 round brush. I added some of my faience blue and my Cooper green into my sap green to create this deeper bluey green color. And I'm taking this right along the edge. Okay. Now comes for the fun part where we get to watch a little bit more color bleeding happen. Grabbing my size 6. We have mostly water on the brush. We're creating a little bit of a shadow here. Let's add some splatter. If you already have paint mixed up from that green, you can just keep it there. I want a little bit of green gold, bring some vibrancy. And let's add some red. For a little bit more detailing on these seeds, I'm just going to take some pure black, mostly paint. This is pretty much dry. So we're just giving that little bit of a sharper edge to some of these. And then you have those couple of lighter ones, so we'll still work on those, just a little bit more watered down. I'm creating a little bit of a glaze with yellow ochre and green gold. And for a glaze, you want it a little bit more watery, so it's kind of just like wet on dry to create almost like a color lens that we're looking through. So it kind of just gives this tint without fully painting over what you had. Next, I'm taking some white gouache. I have Winsor & Newton. I'm gonna take it straight from the tube and add it to my palette. And go in with some finishing detailing. Touch of water mixing into that white gouache. So now I have a little bit more flexibility with it. And since the seeds are still wet, I'm gonna finish on those and start with what's already a little bit more dry. So we're adding a couple stripes here maybe on that rind. Now this is kind of like a little bit of a dry brush technique here where you can see it's kind of streaking, which is exactly what I'm going for. Just add a little bit more texture. Let's do the same thing down on bottom. You can always hear the brush hitting the paper when you're doing dry brush technique. Grabbing a good amount of white gouache on the end of my brush, right up in this corner. That Cooper green, you can see it has almost like a minty look to it when it's mixed with a little bit more gouache. All right, we are finished with this watermelon painting. So fun, super summery, and these are honestly probably my favorite colors to paint with. I really love contrasting colors. We got the green and the red. Thank you so much for joining, and I will see you in the next video.